20 minutes before 6. This is Marv Howard, KHJ 2020 News. It was a warm day at the Army Induction Center on South Broadway, and a few people on the upper floors of the building decided to cool off the ardor of anti-war and anti-draft protesters by dropping water bombs on them. A search of the building produced no suspects. KHJ reporter Art Kevin, who was drenched with one of the bombs, stood in the middle of that melee and tried to get an interview with demonstrator Karen Dellenbach.
Karen, you got good and wet there. I just caught it on the top a little bit. Is this the first time it's happened?
No, this happens all the time. They throw lighted cigarettes out the window on the heads of the people, and they throw water, and they throw water balloons, and they throw hot coffee. And it hits the peace people, it hits the inductees, and it hits innocent passerbyers.
From the court beat, newsman Roger Aldi called in details of the jury's decision in the trial of a Century City demonstrator. With the results from our man on the scene, reporter Lyle Kilgore.
The second trial involving demonstrators arrested June 23rd at the Century Plaza Hotel ended this afternoon. 24-year-old Gerald Haybush was convicted of one misdemeanor charge and acquitted on another. The UCLA graduate student was found guilty of resisting arrest. The jury deliberated for a full day before returning their verdict. Last week, charges against the first demonstrator to go on trial, schoolteacher Judith Sokol, were dismissed for lack of evidence. Lyle Kilgore, KHJ 2020 News.
L.A. civil rights leader, the Reverend H.H. Brookins, has criticized the police for their Muslim mosque raid. Says Brookins, they acted on an irresponsible tip, and he claimed trouble was averted by the calmness of the area people themselves. Stokely Carmichael is still in Havana, Cuba, soaking up the communist line, and today threatened vengeance against United States leaders, including President Johnson. KHJ asked Brookins if he thinks Carmichael should be considered as one of the leaders of his people.
The vast majority of Negroes in this country have never called Carmichael their leader. And although we've had terrible, ugly situations around the country, by comparison, they are a minority of people who have been doing them. Now, I'm not saying that that's good. I don't think anybody should do it. But to keep suggesting that Carmichael's point of view is the point of view of the Negro is a terrible, mistaken notion of the fact.
Venice Beach is soon to be the scene of a $15 million 18-month training program for the hardcore unemployed. Northern Systems Company says the program will be federally funded. On the KHA crime beat, a murder-for-hire plot leads to the pinch of an L.A. area couple. Bill Brown has mobile unit details.
The plot involved a South El Monte councilman and another man, and apparently involved a long-standing dispute over dog kennels, and it was directed against Councilman Francis Stiles of South El Monte and Louis Checken. Ray Robb and his wife, the suspects, were charged with attempting to hire the murder of the two men. Detectives claim that informants told them they'd been offered $30,000 to kill the men because of opposition to a dog kennel operated by the Robbs. This is Bill Brown for 2020 News.
KHJ headlines by Dateline. Milwaukee, on a night of curfew, and city officials say they're pleased with a cutback in violence. 6,700 guardsmen and police still are on duty in Milwaukee. Detroit, Vice President Humphrey is there, called for a Marshall Plan for America. He told the National Association of Counties Convention that the rule of the jungle will not prevail. He suggested the state set up councils for civil peace to hear voices gone unheard. Vietnam, Viet Cong guerrillas staged a mortar attack that left a fuel tank farm in flames only 7 miles from Saigon.
KHJ, Danny Baxter, Sports.
The St. Louis Cardinals tore it open today. A close National League race has evolved within a week to a near runaway. Cardinals open a 5.5 game lead over Chicago after sweeping a doubleheader from the Cubbies 4-2 and 7-1 this afternoon. The San Francisco Giants' hopes, meanwhile, have come alive now that Willie Mays has returned to the lineup in good health. Mays homered again today in the Giants' 7-2 win over Pittsburgh. Other finals, Cincinnati clipped Atlanta 7-3. The power of pro football is such that the odds makers were literally forced to quote odds on the first Los Angeles Rams exhibition game and the New Orleans Saints' first game ever as a member of the National Football League. The Rams are 12.5-point favorite over the Saints, and somewhere between 25 and 35,000 expected at the Big A in Anaheim. At the Sports Arena tonight, Buster Mathis, a 3-1 choice to make Irish Wayne Heath his 20th straight victim. The unbeaten U.S. basketball team routed Puerto Rico 89-53. The Pan American Games in Winnipeg. And in Houston this afternoon, Cassius Clay lost his bid to get permission to fight in Tokyo. That's sports tonight the way I see it. Danny Baxter for KHJ 2020 News.